So this is one that I've done before, but a different recipe. So this is Mexican street corn style chicken corn chowder. You can see here we've got all of our spices lined up. Here we have our garnishments and our sides. I've got the King's Hawaiian sweet rolls because I love those and I totally want to have those with this. You can see here I already have the seasonings pre-measured. What I did with this one is I doubled up the seasonings because the last one I made used roughly the same amount of seasonings and that was just barely enough to even taste it. So I'll try and double it up and hopefully that doesn't nuke the whole dish, but we will see soon enough. These two of course go in at the very end because you don't want to do the entire cooking cycle with the cheese and the heavy cream in there. But like I said, Mexican street corn style as opposed to green chili, which is the style I used last time. This one is also very easy to make. There's barely any preparations for it. Last but not least, the total cost of everything you see here, including the side, which I will be making later, is $27.97. So very straightforward. This will last you about a week, so that's good, at least lunch and dinner wise. So let's go ahead and get all this organized and we'll get going. So all of this is really easy. The first thing we need to do is just spray the inside of the pan with a non-stick spray, which I did that already, so I don't need to show you. Then we just throw in everything at once. So there goes those. One thing to note, see now I'm spacing. They tell you to cut these in half before putting them in. You're gonna shred them later, so it doesn't really matter. It just makes it a little easier to cook if you do that beforehand, but chicken's kind of hard to cut when it's raw. The other thing I did was I trimmed the little bit of fat off the edges before putting them in there. Feel free to leave that on if you don't feel like doing that. But other than that, let's throw in everything else. So the only two cans that need to be drained are the black beans and the Mexi corn that I have here, or the fire roasted corn, depending on if you got that one instead. Here are the seasonings, so I'll go ahead and throw these in. But as far as the composition, we just have these. I've got some of the Himalayan pink salt, just some pepper. That's just seasoning it to taste. There isn't an actual amount that you need to put in. And then we just have regular chili. I didn't have any chipotle chili, so I just used that because you could. The ground cumin. And then at the store, I found hot Hungarian paprika instead of the regular paprika. That sounded really cool, so I wanted to try that out. So now that all this is put together, all we do is stir it together, and then we put this on for about 5 to 6 hours on low, or 3 to 4 on high. So I will go ahead and get this done. And then I will see you in a few hours. So our soup is going along now. I'm going to go ahead and shred up the cheese. That way it's easier to melt in for later. Now we'll go ahead and leave this out so it can warm up a little bit. That way it's easier to melt later on when we throw it in. So the first part is done. Now what we need to do is pull the chicken out, shred it, and then put these two in and let it kind of mix up again. But at this point, it's pretty much done. So I'll go ahead and attempt to pull these out. It's kind of hard because they just fall apart as I grab them. So now we can go ahead and put these in. Luckily for us, it calls for 2 cups, and this is 1 pint, which is exactly 2 cups. So we can just pour this in directly without needing to measure anything. So of course you're going to want to stir it up now so that it mixes correctly and lets the cheese melt. I still have the crock pot on. That way it doesn't cool off too much since the cheese and the heavy cream is a little bit colder. So I'll leave that there for a little bit, and then I will go ahead and get this all shredded now. You can see how easy the chicken is to shred when you leave it in a slow cooker for a while. I don't even need both hands, I can just do this with one hand. And then of course, once this is all shredded, we go ahead and put it back in. And of course, we just stir it up a little more. And at this point, we are pretty much done. It is ready to serve. All right, so compared to the last one, this one looks and smells absolutely amazing. So I am really excited to try this one out. Take a look. Picture perfect, sort of. Then we got all of our stuff here that I'm gonna go over. Yep, there it is. I forgot to mention this before, but once you put the cream and the cheese in, you want to put it on the warm setting so that it doesn't overheat them once you stir them in. Now, other than that, all we have to do is get our toppings ready. So I have the leftover cheese here that we can use as a topping. I've got some Texas Pete hot sauce, some sour cream, lime wedge so that we can put some lime juice on top. And then I also have some fresh cut cilantro. And something that wasn't on the list of ingredients, but I thought would go good for this too as a topping, is some green onions. So I will go ahead and get these cut up. Oh yeah, we also got the Hawaiian rolls too, and then our green beans that I made in the other video. So let me go ahead and get this out. We will go ahead and start cutting these up and make our toppings. But other than that, I think that's everything for this one. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you all in the kitchen. I'm not the best at presentation, but this is really good. I like it a lot. The Texas Pete hot sauce goes good with it too, so feel free to try that one out, unless you have your own brand that you like better, but I mean. So I said earlier that I doubled up the seasonings in this one, and it actually turned out amazing, so I definitely suggest you do that to yours too. And you could even put in 3 times the amount if you want it to be like super seasoning-y. Anyway, I think this one compared to the last corn chowder that I made was a lot better, and I definitely would do this one again over that one because this one just had a lot more flavors in it, I guess. Maybe it's just because the last one was very bare and I didn't add any extra seasonings from the start, but I do like this one a lot, so I hope you like it.